session. Reason being that this is really important and this is really, uh, you know, uh, crucial to understand from the infrastructure point of view that going forward, how things are going to be. Reason being that, whenever any IT budget gets allocated in any particular organization, right? Uh, Whenever cybersecurity teams or CISO, they refer anything, they propose anything, or any vendor is trying to pitch in the solution to the CISOs or any organization, right? Already there are so many things which we need to go through it to propose a solution. It is not that you will just propose anything in terms of cybersecurity and you will get the order. This is not the way industry works, right? You need to give so many POCs, POVs, right? And then you get the chance to get the order. But whatever happened yesterday, now it will make it very difficult for organizations to take decisions on the cybersecurity solutions. Reason being that this is related to us, right? We all are connected to this incident. Reason being it is cybersecurity related incident. Now there are two ways: either it happened by mistake or it has been done by somebody with bad intentions, right? Now what we need to understand from this is like the solution which was developed to provide security has become the denial of service solution. This is what DOS attack is, right? We want to have complete outages. We want to bring down the businesses. We want to have losses on businesses. And this is what exactly CrowdStrike Sensor has done yesterday, just with a little update as per their statement. But, investigations will surely happen because uh, multiple outages were there. Critical services were impacted. uh, you know, we need to understand how critical infrastructure has become these days and why it is important to have right cybersecurity strategies, placed in your infrastructure to safeguard it against such, issues. Now, this could be insider attack, this could be mistake, this could be outsider attack. So many possibilities are there. We cannot rule out. We cannot just go by the CrowdStrike statement, which they say that it happened with the update rollout and all that stuff, right? Because whenever any rollout goes out, right, so many testing and so many uh, you know uh, development testing done before we roll out any update because we are rolling out, globally. It's not like that you're just updating your server, you're just pushing one update to your server, right? And here also comes your automation these days, CICD pipeline, and how these pipelines are good for DevOps cycle, but how it is also impacting the overall journey, right? So we need to discuss so many things today, and then we'll kick off, Zscaler as well, because it is important to know why all of these things are happening and what preventive measures we can take, because we all are coming from the same background, right? And going forward, right now you must be in support, design, and implementation. So you are providing services post sales, but now think from pre-sales point of view. If any pre-sales engineer will go in the market and try to sell this CrowdStrike solution or any endpoint solution, now he will be backfired with these questions. Okay. And this time it is going to become very difficult for pre-sales to pitch endpoint solutions. Why it is becoming difficult now? Because, there are so many aspects to it. First, we need to understand why these EDR solutions, they have so much control on the machines. This is one of the thing, right? Now EDR is endpoint detection and response, right? And these days you will see that it is gaining market, becoming very seamless cloud based solution. So what exactly happens? This is your laptop, right? Let's take an example. You have your enterprise network where you have the LAN and you are connected to this LAN, right? And then You have your other components. It could be your SD-WAN router, it could be your legacy router, whatever it is, right? I'm just taking simple example, very simple example. And then you are connected to internet, right? And we will discuss about the SD-WAN fabric and SSC later on, Zscaler later on. Just understand a simple topology that this is the corporate user, right? And we have this CrowdStrike sensor here, Falcon, right? Now, what CrowdStrike is giving you, we have a portal just like Zscaler, which CrowdStrike provides for the maintenance. And you can configure the policies, USB policies, prevention policies, right? You can control your sensor updates and all that stuff. So this is your CrowdStrike port, from where you can manage your Falcon sensor. Now, this Falcon sensor is very tiny agent, very small agent, right? Which we install inside, user machines. You can install it in your Windows machines. You can install it inside your Linux machines, right? You can also install it in your Mac. So we create the policies accordingly, right? And you can also have it on your Windows server because it is needed, right? You need to protect your servers because your servers are serving the clients, and mostly websites are hosted over internet or any service which is available over internet. We have to protect it from the cyber threats. Okay. So now what happens through this CrowdStrike portal, you can manage this sensor, right? There is one policy in this portal which is update policy of sensor update, right? Now what happens in sensor update policy, whosoever has kept it latest, they have received this update. So always, as per the industry best practices, what we should do is we should always keep it N-1. So whosoever has kept their sensor update policy as latest, the moment CrowdStrike has, released the latest version of the CrowdStrike sensor, it got pushed in many environments. Okay. Now the first thing is like this was not as per the best practice. You cannot keep your automatic updates to the latest. You have to always keep it N-1. First thing, right? I'll take your questions afterwards. Let me just complete this, right? I'll lose my flow then. Okay. Another thing is like why CrowdStrike didn't do the test before releasing this update, right? It cannot be possible that they have not done the testing. They must have done the testing, right? Something is there which is not known to everyone. Okay? And now this will raise so many concerns that how much control this tiny sensor gets of the host machine. Because I still recall when I was delivering this CrowdStrike training to one of the corporate, very big corporate. So at international trainee said this to me that, after explaining everything about the CrowdStrike, how it works, what control sensor is getting, and how it can prevent the attacks and all that. So he used this statement, and today I can relate it, right? So he was saying rat is being installed to detect the rats. Now, what is rat? Right? We need to understand. So rat is your remote access tool, right? So whenever any malware gets installed inside your laptop, okay, or any machine, it will have its own purposes, right? Multiple things are there. Either, unauthorized remote access reversal will be provided to the attacker. So many things are there, right? So same thing this sensor is doing. It behaves like a rat because wherever this sensor is installed, you can manage those machines through this port. There is one setting. If you do it, you can take the reverse shell of the machine from the portal itself of that endpoint, get the complete control of that machine. Now you can imagine. So from preventive way, it is very good that these are the features which are available, right? But now this preventive strategy became the outage strategy for most of them. So this is what we need to think before we are planning out these things. Reason being that think about the industries, your aerospace, your aviation industry, your manufacturing industry, they all are connected to IT now, right? And we are trying to help, to solve their complex business operational challenges with the help of IT and providing them the solutions, right? How best they can optimize their networks, how best they can optimize their overall architectures so that their end customers will have the seamless uh, experience. What happened yesterday? All these servers, or your Windows servers, who were having this sensor, be it on-premise, private cloud, public cloud, whatever it is, they all went in boot loop, and that is your uh, this BSOD, blue screen of death, right? We commonly use it in Windows stuff, right? So blue screen of death is like when you cannot do anything. Your machine is stuck in critical error, and it cannot load the operating system properly, right? Now just imagine this particular sensor is having so much control of the host machine that it can also impact the boot, right? Now, I can see one question is like Linux and Mac devices were not affected. Yeah, they were not affected. Reason being that in this sensor update policy, you have different you can create the update policies for different platforms, right? For Windows you have a different policy, for Linux you have a different policy, for Mac you have a different policy. So they didn't roll out update for Linux and Mac. It was only for Windows. That's why only Windows machines were impacted. Now, what happened? I'll not take much time because we need to start our Zscaler as well. But it is important to understand endpoint security as well. And I'm keep on telling this to everyone that if you are coming from security background or networking background, sooner or later you need to understand everything, because whenever any outage come, what exactly happens in MSP, managed service providers like British Telecom, TCS, HCL, Infosys, AT&T, what might be happening there yesterday, right? That we need to understand, because we all are coming from that background. We all are coming from service provider background, right? And we need to understand this fact now. So what happens? It's like, this endpoint security is dangerous in both terms. Both terms means if you're not going to implement it, then also you are vulnerable. If you're implementing it, then also you're giving the entire control to a sensor which can do anything. Because this sensor gets the hold of your file system, it can go anywhere. It gets hold of your critical services of the systems, operating systems, right? And this is what exactly happened. There was corruption in this sensor, few files were missing, and it killed the operating system. So how tightly it is coupled with the Windows operating system, you can understand, how much control it is getting. And this is very tiny sensor. I have the installation file with me. I'll show you, because few virtual machines which I used to use for my test bed, they were also down yesterday. They were also in BSOD, right? Now, what is happening? What strategies we need to think, and what would be the you can say the environment yesterday in AT&T and all that stuff, the managed service providers. Because what I can feel, it's like yesterday in our groups as well, people were sharing the the immediate steps to have some sort of temporary fix. But that is not the learning, right? If there are 1 million machines are impacted, how you are going to solve that problem? That is the question, right? You cannot do it manually. So here we need to understand so many things now. First of all, whenever such thing is coming, such outage is coming, what automation rollback strategies you have? And now you will understand everything, right? Why this hypergrowth bundle was launched, why I'm touching up all the areas, and why it is needed for everyone to understand all these areas, because everything is connected, right? What strategies we have for automation rollback? So it means that, do you have any device management software, endpoint device management software, like we have uh, MDM, right? Intune, right? So do you have mobile device management softwares, endpoint device management softwares, right? So that something, if something triggers like this, you can easily roll back to the previous restoration points or to the previous version, right? So these things you need to think whether you know, uh, you need to keep this particular machine, right? This particular tool, you need to have a discussion on that. Now, coming up, the MSSP environment. What could be the scenario tomorrow? I mean, yesterday. So we could imagine this, that during this issue, everyone might be getting phone calls. Every other team in support might have got the phone call, and it might be possible few MSSP, they might be using CrowdStrike themselves and their systems were also down. It could be possible. Every other department might be receiving these tickets, and Windows must be flooded. Windows support yesterday it will be like, because everyone was pointing towards Windows, right? Now there was no problem with Windows. There was no issue with Microsoft. Issue got triggered due to a third party agent which was installed in this machine. And you know, now comes your troubleshooting skills, how you are going to isolate the problems. When such things happen, the very first thing goes in mind, it's like cyber attack. Something has happened. It's a global outage, right? Some sort of cyber attack has happened. So now, you know, everyone will try to figure it out where this problem, could arise, which particular technology is not working well. You have your endpoint security, you have your cloud security, you have your, this network security. Okay, you have your networking as well. So, everyone will start isolating the problem, that whose fault is this, right? And later and sooner down the day, people were able to figure it out. It's CrowdStrike. Now, just imagine how this service chaining could be drastic in nature. Because when we say service chaining, what does that mean? Multiple services you are bringing it together, or you're doing the integration to build your network and security portfolio, or you can say the network and security environment, right? In Zscaler tool, you can integrate your CrowdStrike. So if I will talk about the overall architecture, how it looks like in an enterprise network, right? Let's take an example. This is your branch network, right? This is your data center. Okay. And then you will be also having cloud presence, AWS, where your workloads are there, Azure, right? Now in your branch, you will be having users. And this sensor is installed for endpoint security. It could be Sentinel-1, CrowdStrike, Cortex XDR from Palo Alto. Multiple options are available, right? So it depends. Let's take an example of CrowdStrike. And then you have your LAN network, okay, your switches. I'm just keeping it simple to understand. And then you have your SD-WAN router. It could be any brand router, Fortinet, Cisco, Cloud, Versa, whatever it is. In your data center as well, let's take an example. You have the SD-WAN router and your fabric is there. This is your SD-WAN fabric, your IPsec tunnels to access the resources privately by using the internet underlays. And then you have your data center networking and your application workloads or your server farm is there, right? These are your servers. They are in cluster, multiple sensors were installed, and you have this CrowdStrike sensor installed in these servers for endpoint protection. Now comes your CrowdStrike management portal. It is also available over internet. So this is your CrowdStrike admin portal or management portal, right? Through this portal, you're managing all of your sensors which are deployed in the production environment. And how you're managing it? Because you have the underlay connectivity. This is your underlay internet through which you have built your SD-WAN fabric, right? Now, this internet is providing you connectivity to this CrowdStrike portal as well. Okay, because your underlay is internet. On top of it, you are building SD-WAN fabric, that is your IPsec tunnels to securely communicate from one branch to another branch. And CrowdStrike portal is using that underlay to manage all these sensors. Now, these sensors are continuously capturing the information from your machines and they are sending it to the cloud portal. If you have worked on endpoint security products like, any EDR products like CrowdStrike, this Cortex XDR, you must be knowing it, what I'm talking about, right? So you get the continuous feeds from these sensors. You can control it. You can create policies here. You can, create the USB policy. I mean, if somebody is going to plug in the USB in the machine, what is going to happen, right? Whether you need to block the port, you need to scan the USB, right? You need to log the media files. So many strategies are there. Prevention policies are there, right? Your response policies are there, right? First, we define the prevention that if somebody will try to break in into my system, what prevention methods I have, right? And then if something has been compromised, what response I need to make. So that's why EDR, endpoint detection and response. So it is going to first try to prevent it. And if some breach has happened, then how it is going to contaminate it, right? If any machine is compromised, it will do the quarantine of that machine and all that stuff. So now what happened? This is your one aspect. Similarly, the workloads which are available inside AWS, right? Your servers in Azure, definitely they will be also having this sensor if you are using it, right? So they are also having your CrowdStrike sensor. And they are also getting managed through this portal. You can see that everything is being managed through one portal, right? Now comes your update strategy. In this portal, you have one policy, sensor update. Always we have to keep it n-1. But whosoever has made it latest, they have received that particular update, which came from the CrowdStrike themselves. Now I'll talk about the DevOps life cycle and how we manage the production rollouts and all that stuff in SaaS environment, software as a service, right? Before that, let's understand Zscaler role in this picture as well, because we are going to start Zscaler training. So it becomes important to have a look. Now this is for your endpoint and secure communication for private application. Now comes Zscaler into the picture. So you have Zscaler Cloud to secure your communication, right? So in these machines, you do have ZCC installed. This ZCC is being another agent. And that's why, guys, this is what I have seen whenever I have done the deployments in big customers, right? They used to do it, vigorous testing on these agents before rolling out to their users. And it's not like that. ZCC cannot bring you the blue screen of death. I've seen in multiple projects that we have got the blue screen of death due to ZCC application as well. Whenever you install any agent, if I will show you in my laptop right now, it's everything is there. Zscaler is there, Checkpoint is there, right? Follow Alto is there, Cisco AnyConnect is there, right? So many and agents are there. And I was also having CrowdStrike. Luckily, I removed it from my laptop because if I will show you, I was using it for the test bed, but luckily from this laptop I removed it. Otherwise, I could have seen that particular issue. So this is a tiny sensor which is very easy to install, right? So how Zscaler is interconnected with this CrowdStrike? So it's like in Zscaler portal, which we will learn. In partner integrations, you can also integrate CrowdStrike with Zscaler portal, right? To have a centralized security posture management. What happens? There are multiple ways to forward traffic towards the Zscaler, right? So either you can use VCC or incorporate, you can disable the VCC and you can build the dedicated tunnels from your locations towards the Zscaler cloud to forward your traffic, right? And for private ZPA, we can disable this particular, service inside the connector because we have the SD-WAN fabric for private communication. For internet, we will be using dedicated tunnels from the branch and data center. And then from there, it can break out securely over the respective destination, that is your SaaS and internet, right? So Zscaler also offers integration of CrowdStrike with Zscaler. It comes in partner integration. Now just imagine you have done such a service integration, because this is what we are going to learn in this training as well, integrations, right? You can integrate your SD-WAN with Zscaler. You can, integrate third-party services as well, just like CrowdStrike, your Defender, Microsoft Defender, because we need to have a centralized overview of everything, right? So that's why Zscaler offers this. Now just imagine if something has happened in this particular environment, how you are going to troubleshoot the problem. Because let's take an example. This is XYZ company, right? And this network, everything is getting managed by British Telecom, HCL, Accenture, whatever it is, right? HCL, whosoever is the MSP partner, they are managing this particular network for any customer. And, CrowdStrike will not get the blame. The reason being that managed service providers, they have their own SLAs, service level SLAs, right? Service level agreements. Whatever solution they are giving to their end customer, right? Their end customer will not say that, boss, CrowdStrike has made the issue. They will blame these guys because you are managing their network. Why you have not implemented the best practices? How could you keep the sensor update as latest instead of N-1, right? So this is what we need to understand, why MSSP, they are going to get the blame. Because whenever you start providing services to your end customers are not worried about which technology you are going to use. Okay, they are not worried about it. They are like, I want these services from you, OEM qualification, you can do it on your own. Sometimes customer, they can give you the preference, but mostly they will leave it on the MSP because they are rolling out the complete management of the entire things, right? So now just imagine what would happen yesterday inside these companies. And if you have, witnessed such thing, you can just open it after, I'll complete the walk around. Then I'll open for, doubts and all. So you can just walk me around if you have witnessed such thing yesterday in your organization, because I was able to see in our groups, people were, sending the rollback strategies or temporary fix, right? So the main concern here is like, it's not only CrowdStrike, it's with Zscaler as well, right? Let's take an example. In your app profile, you do have that feature, ZCC update, upgrade strategy, upgrade policy, right? And if you go to your, forwarding, let me show you right away so it will make more sense. Let me just show you what I'm talking about. So this could happen with every OEM, right? It's not about CrowdStrike has done it and something like that, right? It is like it could be possible with other service too, because these automatic updates which we get sometimes become disruptive, right? Be it anything. If you are receiving your, you know, IPS signature automatic updates as well, sometimes I have seen they have also become disruptive and we have to roll back, right? So we will discuss about that as well, that how we can use the best practices to get rid of such problems, right? Because we are buying solution to protect the system. We are not buying solutions to disrupt our own services. I mean, if yesterday this has happened by mistake, imagine how happy hackers would be, right? Without doing anything and they were able to blow you up. Okay. So this is what we need to understand. Now, if I will show you, if you go to Zscaler mobile portal, so if you go to administration, here, if you see this client connector app store, so you have the update settings, right? And you can configure it. User group, Windows version, Linux version. So somebody was asking me that, why it didn't happen on Linux and other devices. Because each platform having its own, policies and way of rolling out the updates on the sensors, right? And you can also, select the time when you need to roll it out. So if you keep it new releases all the time, I mean, I have seen this. Sometimes it's like habit of people keeping latest version in their inbox. This is not the good strategy. So we will not blame CrowdStrike entirely for this, but definitely it's our responsibility as well to keep a test bed, which normally people don't build in their prod environments, right? Always have a test bed for new updates and new releases before rolling it out to the production environment. You cannot directly push everything in production, right? And same thing I written in my post with to CrowdStrike. You guys don't have test bed. I mean, I cannot believe that such a big company is not having test bed before releasing their update. Right? So that investigation needs to be done, and it will surely be happening. Reason being that the services which were impacted yesterday, it was biggest outage in the IT history. But definitely, people in US, they are going to file lawsuits against CrowdStrike, right, for all the disruption which happened, and critical services were impacted. Your airports, we can see the videos, chaos, and all that stuff, right? Now coming to the this particular OEM related thing. So how managed service provider, they get stuck with such things, right? So because customer is going to blame these companies, not the OEM. Okay? Whenever we sell technologies, these OEMs, they are free to select the, I mean, these managed service providers, they're free to select the OEMs, right? And they can pitch the solution, right? So another thing is like, you know, 0-day attacks, because I can see someone is typing it in the chat, because OEM, they say that have latest update to prevent the zero-day attack, right? Now, to prevent the zero-day attack, you cannot, I mean, it's good to have it latest information, because what happens if any zero-day malware has been detected in the system, then that signature goes to the cloud, and from their cloud, the feed goes to everyone, so that they can also be prepared for that particular malware, right? That is a different use case. What we are talking here is like sensor update strategies, the connectors which you are installing on your laptops. Right now, I'm not discussing about the IPS signatures and antivirus malware signatures. What I'm talking about, whatever agents you are rolling out inside the endpoints, be it Zscaler agent, CrowdStrike agent, Cisco AnyConnect, your Palo Alto agent, whatever you are rolling out, you have to keep their update policy to N-1. You cannot keep it, you cannot keep it latest. This is one point. Another point, now coming to that particular DevOps cycle, right? How these particular OEMs, they release the update, or whatever is your, SaaS product, software as a service, right? How they're managing their updates, okay? Because earlier, what used to happen. So now I'll just walk you through some basic software related things. If you go in early 2000s, or between 2000 and 2010, you will see that we used to get these software medias, like either you're getting the .exe file or whatever is the package distribution. You used to get it inside the compact disk. You used to get it inside the USB, right? Or you used to download the file and you used to install it in your local machine. Software was residing in the local machine. Okay. And whenever new version used to come, so you have to manually upgrade it to the new version. Let's take an example. I'm using MS 2007. Now latest version has come, so I will download the new version. I'll upgrade it or I'll reinstall it. It depends on me. This was back in 2000 till 2010, when software as a service was not popular. It was not available. Now what is happening with SaaS, software as a service? You don't have the actual software code. You're getting it from the cloud. O365. Now this cloud is giving you the services, whatever you used to get it on premise. This could be your Outlook. This could be your Teams, your SharePoint, Excel, whatever it is. You're getting all these services through cloud. Now being users, you're just enjoying these services and your machine is accessing it through web. Okay. So software as a service is very good to use, because now there's no dependency on the endpoint, how much compute you need to have, how much RAM, CPU, and all that stuff. System requirements are no longer valid, because you just need to have a web browser and you can access your services. Now coming to the CrowdStrike again. So you have this particular portal, right? This is your CrowdStrike portal, through which you're managing your sensors. On-premise, cloud, whatever it is, right? Let's take an example. This is your on-prem setup. This is your cloud setup, where you have deployed these sensors, right? And you're managing it through this particular portal. Now, how CrowdStrike is giving you the software updates. Okay? So basically what happens, it's like, they have to make this release available in their portal. New release of that particular agent, which you can see here as well. If I will show you, if you click on new release, you can see it is coming here, right? And now it's up to me whether I need to download it, package it, and roll it out. Either I can configure my group policy accordingly or something like that, right? Here, still things are very complicated in terms of Zscaler. But in terms of CrowdStrike, it is seamless because I've done it multiple times. How it is seamless? CrowdStrike DevOps team, they're going to release the update, which will be available on your portal. And if you have configured your update sensor policy to like have the latest version, automatically this sensor will be updated. No need to do any package rollout or any group policy changes. Nothing. You need not to do nothing because your sensors are already connected with the portal. They continuously send feeds to this portal. They're already connected. And there are three services within this sensor, which I will be covering inside my CrowdStrike training, where I'll walk you through it. That these three services are very dangerous for any endpoint because I've done so much research on this product, right? I've been using it, and Cortex XDR also I'm using it. What when I was doing the comparison, this product is having the controls of the host machine you can't even imagine. And whenever I used to teach CrowdStrike live, right, I used to call this thing, and this is what I have also seen in my past experience. If you have done the deployment in very closed networks like NASA or any army based defense units, you have done it, you will agree to this point that what I'm making, they never trust these third party softwares. They never install it. They always try to prefer having clientless VPN services. In fact, they don't even let this RA VPN connectors to control their networking. And you might correlate this with my previous trainings. I think in Palo Alto I mentioned it, right? That RA VPN, if the OEM goes wrong, they can do anything, right? And this is what happened. Although it happened by mistake or by intention, we don't know. But if something is happening inside the OEM, any employee, any insider attack, hacker has joined it, you don't know the intention, right? You can have outages like this. Okay. So that's the reason now we need to think twice before keeping our update strategies to latest. Because the DevOps team, they have built their own CICD pipeline to release the updates to your portal, right? They are just pushing it from the backend. And whosoever comes from the development background, they must be knowing what I'm talking about. So there is one famous meme for this jet commit, jet push, jet pull. These three commands could be very good, and these three commands could be disruptive. If I will give you the overall architecture of training.ngcloudx.com, which we have built, right? So how we are managing it. Now this website, training.ngcloudx.com, we have developed it, right? So if I will pull it on screen, let me just show you. So we have developed it, right? Now it's a dynamic website, a dynamic service which is running. So many things are there in this portal, right? If I want to update something here, what strategies I have, what I can do, right? First option is like whatever we are developing, I can just simply release it on this website. And either it could be disruptive or you will love the new feature. Like you can see, this lab option was not available earlier. Now it is available, right? How this update has been pushed to this website, right? And you can see this payment gateways, everything is integrated, WhatsApp is integrated, endpoint security is there on this particular website, WAF is there, perimeter firewall, so many things are there, when you host services in your data center. So many things are there, right? And normally I'm pushing my videos in the respective courses. So, slow push is going on, right? Every uh, training course is receiving the videos from the backend because the data is in terabytes. Okay. So what strategies we can follow? So we do have this particular, if I will show you dev server where we do our R&D, right? What we need to do, how we need to do it, right? And we have our own CICD pipeline to roll out the updates. Okay, so here you can see now latest version of automation is coming up, which is available on our dev server, but it is not live yet on the prod server, right? Then how we are keeping our databases, distributed databases, few services on Azure, few services on AWS, few services we are keeping on-prem, how we are integrating everything together. This is how you need to understand the application, right? And since the starting of this bundle, I'm continuously repeating this. Your entire networking and security is revolving around application and user experience, nothing else. Because when you become enterprise architect, right, what you need to do is you need to focus on the strategies to seamlessly improve the performance of your application. At this point of time on this website, we have deployed so many things you can't even imagine. From application security point of view, from performance point of view, from user tracking, so many things are there. Now, whatever you are doing, I'm able to see what you are doing because I want you to just watch the videos, nothing else. What type of attacks we get, what type of other notorious thing we see on our portal, we can see it now, right? So you can see this is the dev environment where we release our updates. Like you can see this play card is not available on this prod website, right? But it is available on our dev server. So if you click on it, you will see it something like that. So, we keep on playing with the stuff. And, once we are done with it, then we roll out it to the prod environment. Like right now, you can see that the moment I click it, we got a runtime error, right? Now, runtime error is like, if you're getting it, if I will make it live on this, then you all will start experiencing it, right? Now, how to build this pipeline, how to control these updates. So let me stop here and let me show you one thing which is very important. Sometimes what happens, sometimes this happens. Let me show you. And then I'll open the forum for doubts. Just a minute. Sometimes what common mistake we can make. Can you please mute yourself?
जाएंगे हर हाल में जाएंगे वो बस ये कभी ट्रेनिंग होती नहीं
Thank you. So sometimes what happens is like, you just quickly open it up. I can walk you through it. Okay. So
Sir, your screen is not coming. Not sure if it is me.
no. I'm just bringing it up. Right. Do you see what just happened on my screen? I just opened this project in my VS Code. Right. This is my website, and all of a sudden this happened. Git fetch, git config, right? Git status, everything. Reason being that my VS Code is connected with my GitHub. There I'm maintaining my repository of the code, right? So sometimes by mistake also these things can happen. So you were doing some changes in your laptop and accidentally by mistake, your Git prod was connected and whatever you were doing, it got updated to your repository and from there it went into the production because Jenkins we commonly use for CI/CD pipeline, and it went in because it happened with me too, right? Few times you might have seen outages on our training.ngcloudx.com. because I keep on playing with the code, and I keep on playing with so many things, right? Sometimes I update so many things. You can see the line of code it is written to give you that service. So if I will collaboratively see the files, it's like 20,000 plus line of code is already deployed for few services. And if you see the overall application, so it will be like more than 2 lakhs line of code, which is written to fire up this particular server here, which you are able to enjoy now, right? It's not that easy to build these systems. I can understand the pain of CrowdStrike and all that stuff, right? And here you can see the payment gateway, right? Your resumes, whatever you upload, right? And the static files, the templates, right? Checkout, component courses, all this stuff, right? And then you see these two files, JIT. Now, these two files are responsible for automatic updates from the developer machine itself. Because whatever I'm seeing here, this application is available inside my laptop. And whatever changes I'm making, let's take an example, I'm making changes in this views.py, right? Or let's take an example, I'm making changes in settings.py or urls.py, right? Whatever changes I'm making here, if I want to get populated on my production environment or my development server, I need to have a pipeline, and this is what your DevOps cycle is, right? So earlier, your software development lifecycle was altogether a different, but these days, since DevOps has come into the picture, things are different, right? Now, what happens? This is your developer machine. You have the tool here, your development environment where you're writing the code and all that stuff. Then you have your JIT connected, your repository, where you keep your code, and then you have your pipeline build towards the prod server, right? So what is happening? You're developing something here. It is getting updated on your repository, and from there automatically it is getting pushed to your prod environment. And this is how your SaaS services are going. Regular updates you're receiving. Because these days, if you talk about AI-based signatures, which we get, or somebody was highlighting regarding the 0-day and all that. So the entire process is automatic. If let's take an example, I have detected any 0-day in my endpoint with the help of CrowdStrike. Now, CrowdStrike is going to update that signature to the portal, CrowdStrike portal. And from there, that signature will be cascaded to all the tenants of the CrowdStrike, to all the customers. And it will also go to some other vendors, some other OEMs, because they also take, security feeds from different OEMs. So the entire process is automatic. That's why, we try to help enterprises to visualize the impact of this automation, right? And CrowdStrike outage is one of them. Just imagine if somebody is able to corrupt your pipeline, if they are able to inject some malicious thing in your pipeline, automatically it will be rolled out to so many endpoints. And that's why, if you recall it, SolarWind updates few years ago, that attack happened and so many, outages were there. Same way, your system could become the malware distribution system. I mean, attackers these days, they don't need to build the malware distribution system. What they can do is they can just hack the, these distribution systems. They can inject their file there, and then automatically you will be rolling out to your end customers, and there will be boom, 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 right? So whosoever comes from development background, they are able to understand what I'm talking about, right? If you are not able to understand, don't worry, it will be hyper growth. This will be covered. So if I will walk you through the jet, right? What happens is like, whenever you do anything, okay, You see this fetch origin, current branch, right? What repositories we have, okay, history. You will be able to see everything. Delete, home, add, home, main branch, all that stuff. Whatever my system is doing in the prod, I can see I have the script the history available with me, version control and all that stuff, right? So this is how you have seen the outage yesterday. Now the main point is like either it could be by mistake, it could be intentionally done, notorious intention, any insider attack, employees not happy with the company policies. We did this and left. Might be last working day. We have seen this many times before. Any advisory or any hacking group, they got the access, they did it, they injected the they altered the files and they made it this way, right? Because your defensive strategy could become the offensive strategy if not it is deployed with proper you can say experience or proper way, right? It's like a thin line is there between your defensive and offensive strategies. Okay? What implication it is going to have on the market now? Now it will become difficult for pre-sales engineer, especially in cybersecurity, to sell these solutions because now everyone, every CIO, every CISO, every CTO, every CEO of any company will take reference of this outage. And at that point of time, either you can just play the blame game that they are bad, we are good and all that. But this could happen with any service. It is not just CrowdStrike. Understand the context here, what I have just shown you. From my laptop, whatever I was doing, being a developer, it got updated to my repository. I was having the pipeline. It was getting replicated on prod. And this is what we are going to learn in hypergrowth as well. If you see why I have captured all these domains, right? Your SASE, endpoint security, right? And then we have this DevOps, your scripting. I mean, why we are learning Python, right? Why we are learning cybersecurity, why we are learning cloud, because everything is connected. And if you want to become an enterprise architect, if you are looking for a good future, you should have knowledge of all these domains like I'm having it, right? If I'm having it, I'm able to talk on it. Otherwise, you will see people will not open up their mouth on this particular thing because if you have a discussion with a developer, they will just talk from this point of view. And this is what happened in the backend, right? They won't be able to give you this visibility that how the overall architectures are built, how the traffic is flowing from user machine to the servers, right? How the everything is connected, right? And if you talk to any security professional, they will just talk you from the security point of view. And inside security as well, we have these segregations. Endpoint security is separate, your network security is separate, your cloud security is separate, right? And server team is separate, your SD-WAN related network team is separate, switching team is separate. You don't get end-to-end visibility, which is needed if you want to become an enterprise architect, right? Because when we go on meetings with the customers, when we meet the top big shots of the company, we have to give them this flow. We have to make them understand that this is how your traffic is going to flow. This is how your overall architecture is going to look like. So you will see now multiple videos people will start uploading after this lecture once it will be available, right? So I wanted to show you so many other things as well, but I'm keeping it, to me right now because I will be discussing it inside my CrowdStrike training. Uh, Before opening for discussion, I will also show you one important thing. I have the workbooks available for CrowdStrike. is I've given the training. Let me just pull it up right away and you will see what I'm talking about. Just a minute. I'll open up all the workbook so that you can see how it looks like and you will be able to correlate what we were discussing about. So there are so many things which you can control through this sensor. Because I keep these things in my lab environment and I keep on doing my research on these products, right? So that's why I have gone, I've got that particular insight. Okay, let me pull all the workbooks here. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So I believe you're able to see it, right? So what exactly happens is like, if you will see, right? So here, this is how it looks like. This is your portal, right? Where you need to enter and then you get the dashboard, right? And then you can do the host setup, your Windows, Mac, right? And this is the sensor. Download latest sensor. Do you see this line? Download latest sensor, right? You can download it. In fact, you can configure it in your policy to roll out this sensor, right? And then you can install it inside your Windows machine, right? You can change your directory and then, this particular file, this is how you install it, okay, silently. And then this will happen. This is the sensor which you need to install. And then you will check the state of that sensor, whether it is running or not, right? Similarly, if you see the another lab workbook here, you can see how do we create the host groups and all that stuff, right? How do we add the host and all that? There you can see within host group and then the sensor update policy. This is what I was talking about. Sensor update policy. Let me just enlarge it. Sensor update policy, prevention policy, response policy, USB device policy. Here comes your sensor update policy. We always keep it N-1, right? We never keep it latest. Okay, and this is how you build your overall CrowdStrike tenant. Okay? And there are multiple app workbooks, how to deploy it in Linux, how to deploy it in, so many things. I mean, let me see what interesting things we have. On-demand scans with customized scan locations, because these things are right now not available in my course. Because as you all know, people were leaking my course, so I stopped uploading the content inside that course. But definitely during hypergrowth classes, we are going to learn Falcon in a way you have never seen it. I'll just give you. Here you can see configure CrowdStrike firewall policy to override the local Windows firewall policy. Right? We can even do that. Okay. So there are so many things this sensor can control. And if I will show you other workbook, test your first detection with CrowdStrike Falcon, right? And how you can do it, how it will come up, right? In fact, you can create the workflows. Just see if that workbook is also available. Okay, I think I have not opened it up. Let me open it up right away. Create your first Fusion workflow, right? These are the automated workflows which you can create, and how you need to trigger the actions whenever any uh, event is getting triggered, right? You can create your flows, you can automate everything. So this automation is good, but sometimes it is also becoming very problematic, right? And we can add these workflows. Okay. Similarly, you can see your Vantage policy. So many things are there, right? You have your high severity detections through PowerShell scripts, right? And there are few malicious activities which we can do in the Windows, and then you will see the incidents on the CrowdStrike tenant, right? So immediately the sensor reports to the tenant, right? Whatever you are doing it gets populated on the tenant. So this is very, it's like very much connected with the services of Windows, and the control it is getting of the endpoint is a point of discussion, because we need to think twice before leveraging such a control to such a tiny software, right? Although it is an anti-malware software or just a sensor for malware detection and response, but it could be disruptive, right? And it could bring outages, which we are able to see yesterday. And it's not just CrowdStrike, even your Zscaler or any other solution could be disrupted, right? Now I'll stop my screen share, I'll stop the recording, and I'm open for your doubts, your discussion. Okay. Okay. Yeah, guys, please start asking your doubts. I just